Intel has been planning to enter the graphics card game for quite some time now, to battle it out against the likes of AMD and Nvidia. Well, they're really dropping the ball with their first ever desktop GPU release that you might not even know is happening. Hey there, Danny here, welcome to the channel. In case you didn't know, Intel plans to enter the GPU game kind of how AMD did and start making both CPUs and GPUs. Let me show you their proposed lineup. Their new desktop lineup, codenamed Arc, is going to be comprised of 3 tiers. These are the high-end, which are the A780, A770, and A750 GPUs, the mid-tier, which is going to be their A580, and then the budget segment, which is the A380, A350, and A310. Even though this is Intel's first time doing this, they do have some potentially good features planned. Things like hardware-accelerated ray tracing, hardware-assisted AI upsampling, or XeSS as Intel calls it, AV1 encoding and decoding, and their Xe Matrix Extensions AI acceleration for better content creation. Recently, Intel stated their Arc GPU lineup requires resizable bar for optimal performance, which means if you pair an Arc GPU with an older than 10th gen Intel CPU, you can expect worse performance than stated by Intel. The release date for Arc GPUs was originally stated by Intel at the end of 2021. However, it has since been pushed back 2 times now. This was then delayed till March to June of 2022. Then it was recently pushed back to sometime between July 1st to August 31st. But I'm not gonna hold my breath. Now, Intel technically delivered on their promise and officially released their first Arc desktop GPU on June 22nd, the A380. But only in China and in pre-builts by one company. I'll list the specs anyway, just in case they decide to release them for the rest of the world. These are 1024 FP32 cores, or 8 Xe cores from Intel, 6 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory at 16 gigabits per second on a 96-bit bus. The clock speeds range from 2 GHz base all the way up to 2.45 GHz boost on some of the custom cards. I know the specs seem very low compared to Nvidia and AMD's graphics cards, but remember, this is Intel's first generation of GPUs, and the A380 is in their budget tier segment, so expect this to be their bottom offering for a GPU. Performance videos have come out in China already. There is a few YouTubers that have gotten these GPUs. Since I don't have a way to purchase this card, I'll show you the results I picked up on WccfTech's website. They've got 17 games tested against the GTX 1650 and the RX 6400 from AMD. These tests were all ran at 1080p resolution on medium quality settings. It's actually kind of impressive if you think about it, because they did achieve over 60 FPS in every single game that they have tested here. And it kind of trades blows with the RX 6400. The 1650 goes way beyond what anything the A380 achieves though. Now, these tests were ran on an Intel system, presumably with resizable bar turned on. Just pay attention, on an AMD system, the performance is estimated to be about 17% slower than you're seeing here. If you're gonna be building anything in an Intel system with a 10th gen or higher, you can expect these results on your frame rates. And it's not too bad considering Control, Battlefield 5, Hitman 3, they're all over 60 FPS and they're AAA titles. Things like Apex Legends, F1 2021, and GTA 5, they're getting over 100 FPS, which is kind of impressive for a budget series GPU like this. So considering this is the official documentation, Intel did not skew the results at all. They didn't try to make it look like they're getting better performance than these 2 GPUs. They're just showing you the results and saying, hey, this is what we can get, here it is. So what should the budget shoppers be looking for over the A380? If the A380 is in your realm, what else could you be looking for? In my opinion, this card would have to cost $100 or less to be worth it in today's market, because you can pick up a GTX 1650 right now over on eBay for about $100 used, and it outperforms this in pretty much every gaming scenario. If you're looking for something in that category in the budget tier, I would honestly save up just a little bit more money and go for something like a GTX 1650 Super or an RX 570 or RX 580. I know they're getting much older now, but their performance is by far way better than the A380, and they're not much more money. And they are very readily available, especially with the cryptocurrency crash. So why don't I wrap this whole thing up and summarize everything I talked about real quick. Intel must price the entire Arc lineup very competitively against AMD and Nvidia, otherwise I think it will fail. The only way I see Intel selling well is if they work on those drivers to produce better gaming results and they put prices very competitively. They also need to get these things released relatively fast because we only have a few months before AMD and Nvidia release their new versions of desktop GPUs, which will make Intel's Arc look even worse. If you want to catch all the hottest info on these releases, make sure you subscribe down below. Oh, and if you enjoyed the video, click that like button too, because it helps out the channel more than you think. As I always say, I'm Danny with Danny's Tech Channel, and I'll see you in the next video.